Welcome to Book Buzz Reviews and Summaries. What if the most powerful force shaping your life isn't your IQ, your resume, or your talents, but your ability to connect? Imagine walking into a room and sensing within seconds who needs encouragement, who's hiding pain behind a smile, and who's ready to join you in building something extraordinary now. Imagine mastering that invisible dance of human emotion, not just for personal gain, but to transform every relationship you touch. In a world obsessed with productivity, technology, and speed, we are forgetting the ancient code that has always governed human success, the art of connection. Yet this isn't soft science or poetic dreaming. It's cutting-edge neuroscience. It's the spark in your brain when someone smiles at you. It's the internal shift you feel when you're truly heard. It's the reason why leaders inspire loyalty, why love heals, and why kindness is never wasted. Daniel Goleman, the pioneer who brought emotional intelligence into public consciousness, now takes us deeper into the thrilling realm of social intelligence. This is not merely the science of conversation. It's the blueprint for understanding how our brains are wired for empathy, influence, and human harmony. Every handshake, every glance, every whispered word has the power to rewire both the giver and the receiver. And in that moment, we are not isolated individuals. We are neurons in a vast, living network of shared experience. This book will open your eyes not only to the hidden currents running beneath every social exchange, but to the untapped power within you to change lives, uplift teams, heal wounds, and become the kind of person others are drawn to naturally, authentically, magnetically. Welcome to a revolution not of machines or methods, but of minds. The science is clear. Those who master social intelligence will not just survive in this century, they will lead it. Part 1. The Social Brain Awakens. Chapter 1. Wired to Connect. Daniel Goleman opens with a bold statement. Human beings are biologically wired to connect. Social intelligence isn't just a metaphor. It's embedded in the very circuits of our brain. The moment we make eye contact, shake hands, or even share a laugh, our neurons are firing in synchrony with someone else's. This phenomenon is what Goleman calls neural Wi-Fi, a powerful, invisible force that allows us to emotionally tune into each other. But here's the real twist. Our brains don't just observe others, they resonate. Through specialized mirror neurons, we mirror other people's emotions, intentions, and actions. These micro moments of connection, often unspoken, form the foundation of empathy, trust, and all human relationships. So, the next time you feel someone's tension in a meeting or joy at a party, you're not just imagining it. Your social brain is responding in real time, making you an emotional sponge. For better or worse, we are wired to connect, and the connections we make shape our brains and our biology. Chapter 2. A Design for Life Together. Now that we know we're wired for connection, Goleman explores the two-way street of emotional contagion. How we don't just absorb emotions from others, but also broadcast our own. Whether you're upbeat or irritable, you're affecting everyone around you more than you think. The design of our brain makes relationships not a luxury, but a biological necessity. From the moment we're born, our survival depends on attunement with others. Children raised in emotionally impoverished environments often suffer lifelong consequences, poor stress regulation, stunted empathy, or even physical health issues. But this chapter isn't all doom and gloom. It emphasizes that emotional wellness is highly contagious. The mere presence of an emotionally intelligent person, a calm nurse, a joyful teacher, a steady leader, can elevate everyone in the room. Our brains are social ecosystems, constantly exchanging information, mood, and even health cues. Each encounter is a neural sculpting, an opportunity to reshape each other's inner world. Chapter 3. The Brain's Talent for Harmony. In this chapter, Goleman introduces the amygdala, our emotional alarm system. In social interactions, it can either help us or hijack us. When it works well, we feel safe and bonded. When it malfunctions, especially during fear, conflict, or rejection, it can spiral into distrust, anxiety, or withdrawal. This emotional circuit is especially active in moments of conflict or uncertainty. Think about a tense argument or a difficult conversation with a partner. The racing heart, clenched muscles, and clouded thinking. That's your amygdala overriding your logical brain. It's not you being dramatic. It's your ancient wiring going on alert. Goleman gives us a powerful insight here. Emotional self-awareness and regulation are crucial tools in social intelligence. Leaders who stay calm during chaos, parents who maintain composure under stress, or partners who listen before reacting. They're not just being mature, they're showing mastery of the social brain. This chapter teaches listeners that every relationship is an opportunity for emotional fine-tuning. And the good news, social intelligence can be learned, trained, and practiced. Chapter 4. Love and Attachment. Here, Goleman dives into the most intimate and primal of all social bonds, love, the quality of early attachment in childhood, whether secure, anxious, or avoidant, sets the emotional template for how we relate to others later in life. The chapter is deeply moving. It discusses how people who grew up with nurturing caregivers tend to have strong empathy and resilience, while those raised in volatile or neglectful environments often struggle with emotional regulation and trust. But Goleman is quick to remind us, neuroplasticity gives us the power to rewire through therapy, mindfulness, or even consistently loving relationships. We can reshape our attachment style. One key idea is that safe, caring interactions literally remodel the brain, increasing oxytocin levels, dampening stress hormones, and enhancing emotional circuits, whether it's romantic love, friendship, or parental bonding. Love is far more than a feeling. It's a biological transaction of trust, safety, and attunement. At our core, we long for resonance, and when we find it, we heal. Part 2. Dark Forces, the Shadow Side of Social Intelligence. Chapter 5. The Toxic Connection. As much as social intelligence can heal and uplift, Daniel Goleman warns us, it can also wound and erode. This chapter dives into the dark mirror of human connection. Toxic interactions. Have you ever walked away from someone feeling inexplicably drained, anxious, or small? That's not just your imagination. It's what Goleman calls the toxic effect, chronic exposure to negativity. Whether it's a critical boss, an abusive partner, or a manipulative friend, can rewire your brain, increase your cortisol, the stress hormone, and even weaken your immune system. This isn't just psychological, it's neurological warfare. The brain reacts to emotional pain in the same regions it processes physical pain. That cruel comment, that emotional cold shoulder, your brain registers it as real hurt. And if you face it daily, it's like enduring emotional malnutrition. Toxic people are like secondhand smoke. Your body absorbs their emotional pollution. But Goleman doesn't stop at the problem. It begins to guide us toward awareness. Recognize the signs, set boundaries, and don't underestimate your right to emotional safety. Chapter 6. Social Pain, Social Healing. Here, Goleman offers a fascinating bridge between emotional suffering and recovery. Research shows that rejection, humiliation, and isolation light up the same brain circuits as physical pain. In fact, social exclusion can be more harmful than a broken bone, because the body heals faster than a wounded heart, and yet healing is possible through social balm, compassionate connection, attuned listening, and validation. We can restore the brain to a state of calm. This chapter emphasizes the power of emotional first aid, something as simple as a reassuring touch, a non-judgmental ear, or an empathetic nod can soothe the nervous system and reduce inflammation in the body. Just as people can make you sick, the right ones can make you well. This chapter challenges us to become emotional healers, not therapists, but present, conscious humans who know how to hold space. It's a call to practice deep empathy, not sympathy, to truly feel with someone rather than feel for them. Chapter 7. The Dark Triad. Goleman pulls back the curtain even further and exposes the most dangerous misuses of social intelligence: manipulation, deception, and narcissism. What psychologists refer to as the dark triad. Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. These individuals often possess high cognitive social intelligence, meaning they read people exceptionally well, but lack emotional empathy. They can mimic charm, predict reactions, and exploit vulnerabilities without remorse. You've likely seen them in powerful positions, a charismatic leader who gaslights dissent, a partner who plays mind games, or a coworker who expertly shifts blame. Their genius lies in strategic emotional control, both of themselves and of others. Goleman's message is clear. Social intelligence without empathy is not virtue, it's weaponry. But there's a silver lining. He teaches us how to recognize the warning signs. Surface-level charm with little genuine warmth, an inability to admit fault, calculated flattery, followed by manipulation. Awareness is the first line of defense. When we can name the behavior, we disarm its hold over us. Chapter 8. Empathy Eclipsed. The final chapter in this section takes a solemn tone. Goleman warns that in a world of digital distraction, isolation, and overstimulation, our collective empathy is eroding. We're losing our emotional muscle because we're forgetting to look each other in the eyes, to pause before we respond, to truly listen. He speaks of a subtle epidemic. Empathy fatigue. We scroll past suffering, skim over conversations, and become emotionally numb, not out of cruelty, but from overload. Goleman calls this the compassion deficit. However, hope glimmers. He believes that intentional connection can reverse this trend. Empathy is like a muscle. It can be trained, stretched, and strengthened through mindfulness practices, active listening, regular face-to-face conversations without screens. The more you care, the more the brain wires itself for caring. Part 3. The Healing Power of Relationships. Chapter 9. The Neuroscience of Love. Coming out of the emotional shadows of Part 2, Goleman brings us into the warm light of love. Not just the romantic kind, but love in its many healing forms, from parental nurture to deep friendship to romantic intimacy. Love literally reshapes the brain. When we experience loving connection, our body floods with oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It lowers stress, boosts immunity, and creates a sense of safety that's not just emotional. It's physiological. Goleman walks us through compelling brain scans that show how people in secure, loving relationships regulate stress better, recover from illness faster, and have more balanced emotional responses. Because love regulates the nervous system. A warm hug, a gentle voice, or simply someone being there for you can calm your heart rate, stabilize breathing, and restore your sense of self. In the presence of love, the brain finds its safest rhythm. We learn here that love is not a luxury. It's neural nourishment. Relationships that feel safe and attuned actually reshape our synaptic patterns, reinforcing optimism, compassion, and emotional flexibility. Chapter 10. Attunement and the Art of Presence. This chapter zooms in on one of the most critical elements of healing relationships: attunement, the ability to deeply tune in to another person's emotional state. It's not about advice or even reassurance. It's about being deeply present. Goleman explains that when someone is distressed, their nervous system is searching not for solutions, but for resonance. The attuned person mirrors their emotion, not imitates it, validates it, and helps them feel felt. In essence, attunement creates a kind of neural synchrony. Your brain rhythms begin to match. Your breathing may slow together. It's almost musical. Goleman introduces the idea of a holding environment, a space, physical or emotional, where someone can be fully themselves without judgment. He explains that this is what great parents, therapists, partners, and even leaders provide. The greatest gift we can offer is our full attention. Listeners are encouraged to reflect. When was the last time you gave someone your undivided presence? In an age of distractions, it's revolutionary and profoundly healing. Chapter 11. The Social Cure. In this powerful chapter, Goleman explores how relationships can be a form of medicine. He shares studies showing that hospital patients with regular visits from loved ones recover faster. Lonely people have higher rates of inflammation and chronic illness. Positive social interaction can reduce pain and even help manage depression. He calls this the social cure. The way companionship boosts immune function, lowers blood pressure, and improves mental resilience. But the effects go deeper. Goleman shows that empathetic care is contagious. Nurses and doctors who take time to connect not only reduce patient anxiety, but improve their own job satisfaction and performance. And it doesn't have to be a therapist or professional caregiver. Anyone with enough empathy and presence can be a healer, a sibling, and a neighbor. Even a stranger can tip someone's neurobiology back toward wellness. This chapter is a beautiful reminder. We carry medicine within us, the capacity to truly care. Empathy is not soft. It's strong enough to transform another person's biology. Chapter 12. Relationships that transform. The final chapter in this section is a crescendo. Goleman introduces us to stories of transformational relationships, teachers who turn troubled students into leaders, mentors who believed in someone when no one else did, romantic partners who helped one another overcome trauma. Even pets, he notes, can offer emotional connection that rewires the brain for stability. He also draws on research from psychotherapy, showing that the most effective element of therapy isn't the method, it's the relationship. A patient who feels deeply understood by their therapist is far more likely to recover. Regardless of the technique used, the theme is clear. People change people. Goleman urges us to become that transformational relationship for someone else. And just as importantly, to surround ourselves with those who nurture our emotional development. A single relationship can lift us from despair or drag us down. Choose wisely, offer wisely. He closes the section with a hopeful truth. We can rewire each other for the better. Through love, attention, and emotional honesty, we become part of each other's healing journeys. Part 4. Social Intelligence at Scale, Transforming the World Around Us. Chapter 13. Social Intelligence in Leadership. Imagine a boss who drains energy from the room, micromanages, criticizes, and creates tension just by walking in. Now picture a leader who inspires, listens, radiates calm, and makes everyone feel seen. Which one would you follow? Goleman argues that great leadership isn't about strategy. It's about emotional resonance. The best leaders are not just smart. They're socially intelligent. They read the room, adjust their tone, and lead with empathy and attunement. In fact, Goleman cites compelling research showing that a leader's mood literally sets the emotional tone of the entire organization. If a leader is anxious, the team becomes tense. If a leader is optimistic and present, the group becomes more resilient and creative. Emotions are more contagious from the top down. He introduces the concept of resonant leadership. Leaders who are self-aware and emotionally grounded, understand the needs and motivations of others, use empathy to build trust and loyalty, cultivate a shared emotional environment where people thrive. These leaders create emotional capital that directly impacts performance, collaboration, and innovation. Bottom line, social intelligence isn't a soft skill. It's a leadership superpower. Chapter 14. The Social Brain in the Classroom. Now, Goleman shifts focus to education. And it's powerful. He asks a provocative question. What if schools taught kindness as rigorously as math? In this chapter, we learn that a child's ability to regulate emotions, empathize, and build relationships is just as predictive of success as IQ. In fact, social-emotional learning, SEL, programs have been shown to improve academic performance, reduce aggression and bullying, boost emotional resilience. Teachers, like leaders, act as emotional regulators in the classroom. A stressed or dismissive teacher creates a climate of fear. A warm, emotionally attuned teacher builds a safe space for learning. But this isn't just about students. Goleman argues that teachers themselves need emotional support. They're often overburdened, underappreciated, and emotionally exhausted. The takeaway: if we want a more compassionate society, we must start early and start relationally. Education should be as much about how we relate to each other as it is about facts. Chapter 15. Parenting with Social Intelligence. Few relationships are as formative or as challenging as the parent-child bond. Goleman explores how emotionally attuned parenting quite literally sculpts the child's brain. When a caregiver is responsive, affectionate, and attentive, a child's neural pathways for trust, empathy, and emotional regulation become stronger. But chronic neglect, volatility, or coldness can lead to lasting emotional insecurity. The good news, it's never too late to rewire. Goleman emphasizes that even if you didn't receive emotionally intelligent parenting, you can still learn to parent that way yourself. Through mindfulness, self-awareness, and deep empathy, children learn how to treat others by how they are treated. This chapter encourages parents to move from control to connection. Discipline becomes teaching, not punishment. Conversations become opportunities for emotional coaching, and love becomes not just expressed, but felt in every interaction. Chapter 16. Social Intelligence in the Digital Age. This chapter addresses one of the most pressing modern questions. How is technology changing the way we relate to each other and ourselves? Goleman acknowledges the double-edged sword of digital communication. On one hand, it connects us across distances. On the other, it can dull empathy, flatten emotion, and fragment attention. He introduces a startling idea. Online communication lacks emotional bandwidth. Without eye contact, tone of voice, or body language, we lose essential emotional cues. This is why misunderstandings, trolling, and disinhibition are so common in digital spaces. He warns that heavy screen time, especially for children, can hinder social development. Face-to-face interactions are essential for developing empathy and social skills, and no emoji can replace genuine human presence. But Goleman is not anti-technology. He called for conscious tech use, designing digital environments that enhance connection rather than dilute it. Think platforms that encourage reflection, authenticity, and deep conversation, not just scrolling and reacting. Our challenge is to bring our full humanity into the virtual world. Chapter 17. Toward a Socially Intelligent Society. The final chapter is a visionary one. What would a socially intelligent world look like? Workplaces built on trust and collaboration. Schools where emotional literacy is part of the core curriculum. Families who resolve conflict with empathy. Technology that amplifies our best selves. Governments that govern with compassion, not coercion. Goleman believes this isn't just possible. It's necessary, because the costs of emotional ignorance are all around us. Broken systems, fractured relationships, and widespread mental distress. He leaves us with a profound call to action. Every interaction is a chance to build or break the world, whether you're a teacher, a leader, a friend, or a stranger in a checkout line. You hold the power to impact someone's brain, health, and heart. And when enough of us begin to act with conscious connection, we shift culture, not by force, but by resonance. Final reflections. So, what have we learned across these 4 parts? Our brains are wired for connection, and every relationship leaves a trace. Social intelligence isn't just about charm. It's about presence, empathy, and attunement. Toxic connections harm us neurologically, but healing relationships can restore us. From classrooms to boardrooms to screens, our emotional intelligence shapes society. Daniel Goleman's message is clear. Social intelligence isn't optional, it's foundational. And in a world that often feels disconnected, it might just be the most important. Intelligence of all. Read the book to learn more. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.